particular area maybe you want to focus on, or something that maybe where you're stuck, or question about inquiry, anything that might be coming up? Or we're just still here in silence.
So this might, well, I'm going to effort not to get into theory. That rings true. I re-listened to some interpretation of the Diamond Sutra the other day. The Diamond Sutra is no sutra, or no Diamond Sutra, so on and so forth. And that, something about that hits really close to home with me, because I know that, or there is a intense spiritual greed that I kind of fight with, that I find myself looking for the better wakefulness, I guess it is. Like, it's not a conscious effort, it's just something I find myself doing.
What kind of wakefulness?
Well, that's the thing. It's not some, once I drill actually into it, everything just kind of disappears.
Yeah.
There is nothing. Like, that's the thing.
And is that always the case?
Yep. Literally, it is genuinely every time. The other thing that came up when we were talking about Cat is that it's the matter of fact.
Can we stop for a second?
Yes.
Can we stick with that for a little bit?
Oh, please.
Is there a difference between drilling and finding that there's actually no thing there, and what's happening right now?
Well, no, it's all just happening.
Is there anything happening? Without resorting to thought, is there anything happening?
No.
Notice how a thought will come up, and a thought will be like, what the hell is Jake talking about? Or obviously I see a screen here, or whatnot. And each one of those is a thought. But then there's the thought. Oh, go ahead.
I can parse out thoughts and stop them generally.
But who's going to do that, Raymond?
So I feel like there has to be effort to get to a place of non-effort.
I'm not saying no effort. I'm saying who is doing that? If you look inside right now, can you find a Raymond?
No.
Yeah.
I cannot.
Is there Raymond ever there?
No, the closest thing I could find is an eye.
What is an eye?
Emptiness.
What is emptiness?
Well,
hold on. So forget about thoughts and concepts, right? So there really is no answer to what is I, right? Because any answer that arises is a thought, right? So what is there, whether there's thoughts or not? What is always here, regardless?
Consciousness.
But what is that?
Well, I can't tell you that. There is no way for me to define that in words.
Yeah, but you can experience it.
Well, yeah, I was out on my porch last night pontificating or contemplating this, and thinking about how to define consciousness, and the only thing I can come up with, that it's not even a word, is just this.
Yeah, and what is this?
This is it.
What is this?
Consciousness.
Is it an object?
Oh, no. It is the feeling of nothing and everything.
And are you this?
Yes.
You are, aren't you?
Yeah.
Is there any place where you aren't, Raymond?
No.
No, right? And is there any Raymond that's aware of that?
No.
There's just this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you notice how there's aliveness? You are here regardless of whether you label it or not.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And is there any time that you can remember when this wasn't here?
No.
No. So it's completely timeless, right?
Yes.
Yeah. How about, is there any place where this ends in your direct experience?
No. And it feels like the direct experience part you had at the end is very important.
Yeah. It's completely boundless. And it's always here. It's timeless and boundless and always here, regardless of what's happening, regardless if there's really complex emotions coming up, regardless if there's thoughts coming up, regardless if there's a label to it or not. It's always here.
This becomes especially challenging to see that when conversing with others.
Mm.
You know,
But who's going to see it? Is there anybody to actually see it, or is it just there?
what? The deceased?
This.
Oh. No, it's all just happening.
Mm-hmm. And where is it happening? Is it happening in you?
Well, I don't really have any concept of where.
Okay.
It's all just happening. It feels like it's all just kind of exploding spontaneously at one time.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shoot. I have a meeting to go to.
Oh, shoot. See you,
But
Raymond.
we will get back to this. And it was great chatting with you guys. Sorry,
Nice chatting.
do not want to go out of this, but yeah, I have a meeting at noon, so
Take care, man.
catch you on the flip
Cheers,
side.
Raymond. Good to be with you.
Bye-bye. Hope you didn't mind me grilling a little bit.
No, it's it was interesting sort of watching it and following along.
Yeah, what was that like on your end, Mike?
Sorry?
What was that like on your end?
Well, I was responding to the questions for myself and answering pretty much in the way that Raymond was answering.
Mm-hmm.
But also sort of after a while beginning to feel rather tricked, I suppose, because it's because the questions sort of to respond to the questions, I have to go into the mind to create sentences and everything. And so I'm sort of trying to describe something that's sort of beyond the mind. And it
Apologies.
Hey, Raymond.
Welcome
So I
back.
didn't realize you said it for an hour and a half.
Oh, okay.
I had to leave early, but it's only a half hour early. It's not.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
I have another
Cool.
half hour.
Well, great.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries, man. So sorry, I'm still kind of making my way around Google Meet. So let me oh, here we go. That's what I was looking for. Hide title. There we go. Great. Okay. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry,
so
Mike.
I was just
So you
commenting
said you
in a way
you'd
on,
have to go into the mind, right?
yeah. So I was sort of following along with your answers, Raymond, to Jake's sort of questions, and was saying similar things to myself, if you like, as to what you were saying. But also after a while beginning to get a bit, feeling a bit tricked, because this whole thing of asking questions, to respond to them, I have to use my mind. But I'm then sort of, in a way, taken away from the experience, because as I think you were beginning to say in one or two responses, it's like, well, there's nothing to say really. It is just this. There is just this. But even that is not what it is. You know, those are just words. So yes, it's almost by engaging in the process, I'm taking myself away from the experience of oneness or thisness or whatever.
Mike, can I challenge that a little bit?
Yeah, sure.
Who is it that would actually be taken away?
It doesn't feel particularly it's a who being taken away. It's more my attention is drawn into the space of concepts and labels and so forth. Because I think you asked about Raymond saying about going into the past to remember or whatever, and
Yeah.
it's kind of like if I'm just sort of in the moment and not thinking. So if I'm present but without thought, then there are kind of no boundaries, no edges, no nothing. It's a bit, there's that lovely Locke Kelly question, isn't there? Something along the lines of what's here if there are no problems to solve.
Oh yeah.
And it's, you know, that sort of sense of if I just sit here and don't try and answer questions or don't engage with any thoughts that come up, there is this empty, spacious sort of fullness. But as soon as I try to describe it, I'm just wondering if this is true or not.
No, this is awesome.
Well, I'll go on with the sentence I was saying. As soon as I try and describe it, I can, actually what happens is I can feel my mind starting to cast around for words to say.
Okay.
Whereas if I'm just sort of sitting here, then thoughts definitely arise, but they're sort of at a bit of a, but they arise within the spaciousness. Whereas I think as soon as there's so I think what happens is when I'm asked the question,
Yeah.
that activates the self or the ego. There's almost okay, I've got to answer this question. And so the I sort of starts going, oh, right, yeah, what's the answer here? So I can imagine that there could just be an answering of the question without the I arising. But I don't know that that's something that happens at the moment for me.
So, Mike, when thoughts arise, is that a problem? This is Malak Kelly stuff, but is when thoughts arise, is that a problem?
It's not a problem, but it's more when thoughts arise, my or attention, if you like, goes from sort of boundless spaciousness to the thought.
And is that not also this though?
It
How
is, but
can it
it's
not
also,
be this, right?
yeah, but it's also a kind of it's like the awareness of open spaciousness goes. It's like my attention narrows.
That's totally fine.
Yeah, but it means that if I'm sort of meditating and wanting to notice open awareness, the sort of conversational process makes that more difficult. So I mean, the reason I pause every so often is as I'm trying to sort of drop back into something more spacious or go beyond the mind or whatever.
Hey, Mike, this is all states. This is open spaciousness. This is contracted into thoughts as well. So, and where is the mic that is going to be an open awareness?
Well, I think what happens in a more open awareness is the sort of the miciness fades away. Whereas when there's more of the contraction, it's almost like that's the sort of the mic forming.
But even that mic forming is also this.
Yes, but at that
I get the sense that like this is no particular way. That's why it's totally free, right? That's why it's not. It can both be open and spacious and contracted, right? Because it's not constrained by any way. It's not constrained by definitions. It's not constrained by thoughts about what it's like, because all of those things are it. That's why there's nowhere to go and nothing to do, because this is already fulfilled. There's nothing that needs to be done for this to be this.
Okay, so I think the sort of dichotomy almost I'm playing around with is being unconscious of or being conscious of. So when if I'm if I sort of let go of thought and just be in this spaciousness, I'm aware of the open spaciousness. I'm aware of awareness, if you like.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, if you ask me a question that particularly engages my mind, I lose that awareness. I get lost in thought, if you like. And so it seems to me there are kind of two states, for want of a better word, that I inhabit. One is this open awareness, where I'm aware that I'm aware, or I'm aware of aliveness, or, you know, however we word it. And then there are other times which probably make up the majority, well, which do make up the majority of my day, where I'm engaged with something, and I'm sort of doing what I'm doing, but I'm not, and I'm aware of what I'm doing, but I'm not aware of being aware of what I'm doing. And so I think that's the kind of distinction I'm making. Now, I know that when I'm just doing stuff, but yeah, it's just this, but there isn't an awareness of it being just this at that point. There's just the thrownness into it. And that's not a problem. Actually, if I were to get to what feels like the problem for me at the moment, is that I get that what persists is awareness, that the contents of awareness change, but what persists is the aliveness, the being aware. So I sort of get that, I suppose, intellectually, mentally, but actually at the level of experience, I kind of don't get it. It's like my sense of this moment is that I am a body mind, that not that I am pure awareness. And that I feel I'm kind of stuck in that, or I'm holding on, or there is a holding on to the being a body mind, rather than a letting go or an allowing of I am this.
I'm going to check in with Raymond real quick. Raymond, do you mind if I do kind of like some direct pointing with Mike? I just don't want you to feel like, oh, okay. Mike, do you mind if we kind of dig into this a little bit?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely up for that.
So we'll take a somewhat similar tack to start, as Raymond and I were chatting about earlier. So Mike, would you agree, at least in a relative sense, that we're having a conversation right now?
Yeah.
And so we're not in deep sleep and we're alive, right?
Yep, we're alive, we're awake.
And so how do you know that you're alive?
By the experience of aliveness, by awareness.
And what is that? How do you know? What is that experience of aliveness? Forget about aliveness, forget about awareness. What is that? Just like a noticing, right?
Yeah, it's this. I mean, as soon as I try and sort of, when you ask that question, I can feel myself kind of grinding up into my head and going, yeah, what is this? And trying to find words and concepts and stuff, but it isn't that. It's just this. It's this open, spacious awareness. But those are just sort of words which point at something. But the problem is they point at something, and it's...
But they actually don't. There's no thing for them to point to.
No, that's what I'm meaning. Is so the words sort of reify something, make something sort of concrete,
as if of an object or something.
Yeah. And so they immediately sort of are inadequate. And I have no way of articulating or describing this partly because there is no not this.
Yeah.
You know, it's yeah, there is, and that definitely makes it difficult to know what this is, because we kind of know what is by the absence of it. So everything else, you know, well, there's this and there's not this.
But Mike, you can't know what this is. It's unknowing.
Yeah. Yes, it's like it's in a different domain to what's knowable. I mean, it's an unfair question in that it's we're trying to observe or speak about something which is not in the domain, in the world of things that can be spoken about. So it's a bit of a sort of trick question in that sense, in that it's it's not possible to give an answer to it, and it's not possible to kind of conceptualize it as something. And yet at the same time it is completely obvious and evident, and yet ungraspable and intangible and everything.
Mike, what's it like over there right now?
It's like this.
And is there anywhere that isn't this?
No, there isn't.
Is there any up or down?
No, there's just this.
Is it divided or undivided?
It's undivided until I start thinking about it, and then that sort of carves it all up. But this is undivided. There's no up, no down, no here, no there. There's just this.
And when there's thoughts about it, is it still this? Is it still undivided?
As long as I don't get lost in the thoughts. So if
Hey Mike, before you continue, where is the I that's going to get lost in the thoughts? In your direct experience right now, where is that I? Can you find it?
No, I can't. But it's, in a way, it's not the I that gets lost in the thoughts.
Uh-huh.
It's just there is a lostness in thought, a sort
That's,
of, yeah.
is this still there though? When that happens,
Oh, okay.
is that still this?
That's a really interesting question, because if I'm lost in thought, that there's not an awareness of this being here.
But it's
But if
still
I think
this now.
about it, there must be
It's
thisness
still
here.
this. Yeah.
But it's not what there's an awareness of.
It's not the expectation, right?
Sorry?
Maybe there's some kind of expectation that, like, oh, there should never be any lostness in thoughts, right? I could be wrong, but the sense I get is that there's some kind of expectation that there should never be lostness in thoughts, but it doesn't matter.
Well, I think that there's maybe an expectation that, oh, is it an expectation? I was going to say there's an expectation that awareness is somehow continuous, but then actually that's not the case, because, you know, when I go to sleep, that sort of awareness ceases. But yeah, there is definitely, I'm sort of making a distinction between two states. One is the one where I'm, if you like, aware of being aware,
Mm-hmm.
and the other state where I'm unaware of being aware.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm calling lost in thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not sure, I think I could, you know, I could be lost in experience as well.
Mm-hmm.
But it's that, well, that's interesting, because I mean, those sorts of states are selfless states.
There's already no self.
Yeah, there's already no self there. So in a way, when I'm sort of sitting here going, there is just this, there is perhaps more of a self present rather than
Maybe.
less of a
Yeah.
self. So I'm rather shooting myself in the foot here, I think.
Well, there's absolutely no difference between the two. Both states are different appearances of the same this.
Okay, oh, that's a helpful way to phrase it. Thank you for that. Yes, okay, that's good. That's good.
It doesn't matter what happens at all. There's already no one to get enlightened, to be aware of awareness, to get lost in thoughts. Anything that happens is already perfect because it couldn't be any different. And so it's all just this, apparently manifesting in myriad of ways. That's why it's a cosmic joke, because humans tend to feel like that we need to do something to manufacture a certain state, or that a certain state needs to be present all the time. But this isn't a certain state. It's all states. It's like the United States.
Yeah. Yeah. That phrase about both the states I've been describing are just appearances of just this. That's
The same
that.
reality.
Yeah, it's sort of. Yeah. Thank you. That's useful.
How you holding up over there, Raymond?
I'm good. The issue that occurs, and why I think these talks are valuable, especially for someone like me, is that I am ill-equipped currently to deal with the fight or flight that gets triggered when in this kind of dynamic, specifically when we are sitting here talking about something that out of this context and in a very personal level and in all cases has been instrumental in developing parts of my life that I didn't even know I could do. Like, it has meant the world to me. And it's almost like I'm on a stage and my body just has this visceral reaction where there is an impatience to let that all settle before speaking. And that's when the selfing begins.
Mm-hmm. And similar, this is pretty much the theme of today. You guys brought up Black Kelly, so it keeps coming back. And I ask this question a lot too. Is selfing an issue?
In the past, it has been. So the self that I have brought to the table in my historically has kind of sucked. So it's really breaking free of those shackles. It's this process that I know how to do on my own and get through to. I understand this is all happening. For me to recognize that or recognize that, it takes a bit of a process, and that feels hurried and jumbled when in situations like this. Hell is other people, I believe. Is it Sutra or Nietzsche? And I love you guys. That's not, you get the point. Like, it sparks all these mental images and dances that go on in the mind.
Yeah, Raymond, like you've kind of already pointed out, that stuff is kind of arising spontaneously, right? In response to conditions, right? Yeah.
Now it is the time I have to go.
Oh yeah, that's right. Hey, take care, man.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Cheers, Raymond.
Bye-bye.
Good being with you.
Mike, do you have any other questions? Oops.
I don't think so. Also, I think I'm probably ready to go, just because it's quite intense, this sort of process. And indeed, I'm impressed that you would have been willing to go for 90 minutes with it, given you're in the driving seat. So I've found that really useful, and I think this is a good point to stop, where I've still got that sort of clarity about it. I think if we go on, I'll start meandering and lose.
Well, take care, Mike. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Thanks very much. Speak to you again soon, Joe.
Yeah, take care.